I said, you got to be. I flew to Iraq, remember? And I came back. Remember that brave flight when we landed on a runway with no lights? And I said, I want the Congressional Medal of Honor for myself. I said, am I allowed to give myself the Congressional Medal of Honor, Russell? And they said, I don't think that would look too good, sir. I said, I agree with you on that.
Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Menendez. Let's get to it. It's Monday, September 25th, 2023. Welcome to day 979. Donald Trump vowed to investigate NBC News and MSNBC for country-threatening treason and to make them pay a big price if he gets reelected. On his personal social media website, Trump claimed that Comcast, the parent company of NBC News and MSNBC, is not entitled to use the very valuable airwaves of the USA for free because of their knowingly dishonest and corrupt coverage of people, things, and events. Despite being the featured interview guest on MSNBC's Meet the Press last week, Trump repeated his baseless claim that the media is the enemy of the people that should pay a big price for what they have done to our once great country. The White House called Trump's threats an outrageous attack on our democracy and the rule of law. Meanwhile, Trump also suggested that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, should be executed for reassuring the Chinese that Trump was not planning an attack against them following the January 6th Capitol insurrection. Milley made two calls to China in the waning months of Trump's presidency. The first was in October 2020 when the Chinese had become concerned that Trump would preemptively attack them because he was losing the 2020 election. And the second was 2 days after the Capitol insurrection to once again reassure the Chinese that Trump was not planning to attack them. Both calls were authorized by Trump administration officials and coordinated with the rest of the DoD and other relevant government agencies. Still, Trump wrote on his personal social media website that Milley turned out to be a woke train wreck who, if the fake news reporting is correct, was actually dealing with China to give them a heads up on the thinking of the President of the United States. This is an act so egregious that, in times gone by, the punishment would have been death. Moving on, Democratic Senator Bob Menendez refused to resign after a federal indictment accused him of accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes in exchange for political influence. The indictment alleges that Menendez and his wife received bribes that included cash, gold bars, payments toward a home mortgage, compensation for a low or no-show job, a luxury vehicle, and other items of value. Menendez has denied all wrongdoing, saying that the allegations levied against me are just that, allegations. Last year, investigators found more than $480,000 in cash hidden in clothing, closets, and a safe, much of which was stuffed into envelopes inside a safe, closets, and clothing, including a jacket with the Senate logo, all of this according to the indictment. Menendez suggested that the cash was from my personal savings account. It is the second time that he has been indicted on bribery allegations. The first one came in 2015 and ended in a mistrial. Menendez is up for re-election next year. And finally, the House will reconvene and continue budget negotiations tomorrow with just 6 days remaining until a government shutdown. Kevin McCarthy will try to move forward on 4 spending bills, even though they are all unlikely to pass in the Democratic-controlled Senate. The House Freedom Caucus, meanwhile, has signaled that they will continue to block any short-term spending bill, seeking deep spending cuts and limits on aid to Ukraine, among other demands instead. The House broke for recess last week after being unable to pass a basic rules measure to debate a Pentagon funding bill. McCarthy can only lose 4 Republican votes without having to rely on Democratic support to pass legislation. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Menendez.